Hello, my amazing subscribers and readers. I'm going to start a new project. It may sound very odd to you, but I would like to read Foxe's Book of Martyrs online. I feel that in our country, we are very ignorant of history, and as a people, we have become very entitled with our rights and privileges that we think are ours for because we've somehow earned them. But I wanted to read Foxe's Book of Martyrs. For many years, it was the only book many Christians had beside the Bible. And I will go into the history of the book a little bit more later. But for today, I just want to read the first of the 10 primitive persecutions. Foxe is a very interesting character, which I will go into his history a little bit as I learn more about it. But I wanted to dive into some history of the Christian church, which will certainly make us more grateful for the people that went before, and maybe a little bit more humble to what we have done in the way of personal sacrifice to walk the Christian walk. These people that I'll be reading about were willing to stand unto death. And many times I know that I'm not willing just to stand in spite of verbal persecution. And these people stood for Christ in the face of much physical, excruciating pain, agony, and death for Christ their Lord. They did not have the resources that I have available to me. I have my Bible in my hand. I have many great books. I can listen to podcasts of great speakers. I have a church that I can walk into and go to church every Sunday and get good teaching. At many of the periods of time in this history, people were meeting underground. They were going to church at great peril to themselves and their families. So I just thought this would be a neat project to start just little bit by little bit to help us see a broader picture of the history of the church in all of its ugliness, because Christ is beautiful and righteous and holy, but the church in all of its forms has not always been beautiful. And people that operate under the name of church in one denomination may persecute those that operate under the name of church in another denomination in ways that are both horrible and just unthinkable in our day. So let us enjoy Foxe's Book of Martyrs and maybe come away a little bit wiser as to what saints in the years past have had to go through so that we could enjoy the freedoms and the privileges that we have today to call the name of Christ. And indeed, those privileges may not be around long because we've abused them so. So, Foxe's Book of Martyrs. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on chapter 2, because to me, chapter 1 of Foxe's Book of Martyrs looks largely to be like an index, a outline. So I'm going to look at chapter 2. And let's just get a flavor of Foxe's Book of Martyrs. So here in chapter 2, it starts with the 10 primitive persecutions. And today I may only read 1 or 2 because these are kind of tedious. The language is old. So the first persecution under Nero, AD 67. The first persecution of the church took place in the year 67 under Nero, the 6th emperor of Rome. This monarch reigned for the space of 5 years with tolerable credit to himself, but then gave way to the greatest extravagancy of temper and to the most atrocious barbarities. Among other diabolical whims, he ordered that the city of Rome should be set on fire, which order was executed by his officers, guards, and servants. While the imperial city was in flames, he went up to the tower of Mechanus, played on his harp, sung the song of the burning of Troy, and openly declared that he wished the ruin of all things before his death. Besides the noble pile, called the Circus, many other palaces and houses were consumed. Several thousands perished in the flames, were smothered in the smoke, or buried underneath ruins. This dreadful conflagration continued 9 days, when Nero, finding that his conduct was greatly blamed and a severe odium cast upon him, determined to lay the whole upon the Christians, at once to excuse himself, and having an opportunity of glutting his sight with new cruelties. This was the occasion of the first persecution, and the barbarities exercised on the Christians were such as even excited the commiseration of the Romans themselves. Nero even refined upon cruelty and contrived all manner of punishments for the Christians that the most infernal imagination could design. In particular, he had some sewed up in the skins of wild beasts and then worried by dogs until they expired, and others dressed in shirts made stiff with wax, fixed to axle trees, and set on fire in his gardens in order to illuminate them. This persecution was general throughout the whole Roman Empire, but it rather increased than diminished the spirit of Christianity. In the course of it, St. Paul and St. Peter were martyred. To their names may be added Erastus, Chamberlain of Corinth, Aristarchus, the Macedonian, and Trophimus, an Ephesian, converted by St. Paul, and fellow laborer with him, Joseph, commonly called Barsabbas, and Ananias, bishop of Damascus, each of the 70. So, a lot of that I don't understand because I don't understand my history well, but I certainly think I understand how wicked Nero was. That man was completely crazy, off his rocker. Can you imagine being under the rule of that man? Didn't matter whether you were a Roman or a Christian, he was burning the city. And then when he got so much flack from burning his own people's city, he blamed it all on the Christians. And I don't think anybody was fooled by that, because the soldiers of Nero had gone out under his orders and lit the city on fire, but he still has the audacity to turn around and blame the Christians for the burning of the city. Crazy. So next time we get together, I will read the second persecution under Domitian, AD 81. And this is Carla Marie. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of Christian history in the Foxe's Book of Martyrs. And I hope you have a wonderful day.